Hey guys, we are live back in studio, Professional Overrun podcast. Special guest today, John Cruz. Thanks for coming on today, man. A little bit to talk about as far as baits and whatnot goes. We're approaching the first Elite Series event for you, and if you just want to touch on your background and stuff like that, kind of introduce yourself, and we'll go over some stats quick and jump right into the baits.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Always love talking fishing, so that's always good for me and where I'm at. But I'm born and raised in Virginia and been doing the professional fishing deal for right at 20 years now, and started Missile Baits 12 years ago, and been growing that, and the whole professional fishing thing and the Missile Baits, they really go well together, and everything that I'm doing. So I'm glad everything we're able to get on here and talk about it.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Glad we got this timing down. I think Byron is one of your reps, I believe.
Yeah, he's our director of sales. He's a champ.
Perfect. I was talking to him on the phone for a couple minutes, just talking about orders and stuff like that. And I was like, hey,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to have one of the local guys or something like that you guys have as pro staff or something like that, jump on the podcast and stuff, talk about some baits. And he's like, well, you could probably just send an email over to John. He'd probably jump on if he's got a couple minutes. And I was like, what? So
right.
no, that was super cool. And yeah, he's a champ, that's for sure, man. So 12 classic appearances, 199 total events fished. This one's going to be your 200th, and it's on a familiar body of water for you that you've done well in the past. That's got to be something special, man.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I didn't even really think about the 200 thing until you brought it up. It's just another tournament to me. I'm having the same approach. You got a lot of preparation time before you even get there. I don't know how many hours I've already been working on my boat, and then all the time I've been working on my tackle. I mean, it's way more than most people realize.
Yeah, there's really no off season, is there? It's immediately go back, switch everything over, get ready for next year, start researching the new bodies of water once you have the schedule out and stuff. It's got to be hectic.
I mean, it's at least 100 hours to get the boat set up properly, and then that's not even counting the tackle and all that kind of preparation. That's probably another 60 to 80 hours worth of work to get it all ready to go for tournament time. I mean, you could half-ass it, but I don't do that.
Right? Heck yeah, man. No, I mean, you've been in this long enough. You know exactly how it goes. A lot of guys rooting for you in Wisconsin. I know we touched on this a little bit earlier. A lot of guys have you in fantasy for this week and stuff like that here locally. So I know we got a couple guys already watching that are jumping in. Just a shout out, anybody chiming in here. If you got any questions for John, I can see him.
Yeah.
I can pull him up and we'll fire him away in his direction and stuff. I know we got some important stuff we want to get to first. 132 times in the money, so 2/3 of every event is in the money. That's super consistent. Obviously, you said you got to do well in order to stay in it, and that is the truth. Would it surprise you that you have over 6,100 pounds of fish weight in?
That's a couple tons, I guess.
That's a few, yeah.
The scales, it never gets old though. It's like, man, why couldn't I had another 10 or another 100 or another 1,000?
Right.
That's what I'm looking at.
Right? No, that's awesome, man. So the Real Shot up here in Appleton, obviously a huge supporter of this channel and stuff, sponsored by them. They are bringing in quite a few of the baits for this year. We're bringing in the Baby D-Bomb, the D-Bomb, the Baby Destroyer, the Ned Bomb, and the Bomb Shot. I've got a few examples of each one of them here. Just kind of want to run through some of the plastics and stuff like that, and get some elite level opinions on what guys can do to throw these specific baits, and how you fish them is
Sure.
what I would say, to maybe give some people some insight on exactly how to rig these or what they're designed for specifically. So I guess we can talk about the D-Bomb first. That was in the original lineup, I believe.
Yeah, just to kind of give you a basic overview of the whole product line, and the whole philosophy of Missile Baits from day one is that I designed the products that I couldn't find on the market to fish with already. I did not have a soft plastic sponsor for 2 years or so before I started Missile Baits, and I did that by choice. I had other options, and I didn't feel like the right fit was there. So I fished with whatever I wanted to fish with, and what I found out was that exactly what I wanted didn't exist on the open market. I mean, I was just buying whatever I wanted. And there's a lot of good plastics out there. There's, trick worms and beavers and flukes and Cincos and all this kind of stuff. There's no need to reinvent those. That's the way I look at it. Sure. Everything in the missile baits lineup is done for a reason and for a purpose. And so if somebody says that one of our baits is just like something else, they're misinformed, or they're not looking at it close enough, or they don't understand the bait. It's one of the three.
Or in the last 12 years, somebody's probably looked at a tournament winning bait and designed something similar.
Yeah.
But obviously,
or it's come back around. Yeah.
Right.
Somebody knocked our stuff off, which is fine. Imitation's the highest form of flattery, so that's cool. But
right.
And nobody ever does better than the original. Like, nobody's ever made a better Cinco than Yamamoto. It hasn't happened.
Right.
So
no, for sure,
that's
man.
the way I look at it.
Definitely. So, the last guy we had on here got into chemistry and stuff like that, and the formula baits and everything like that. These are incredibly soft, but yet very durable. So obviously have to be soft in order to drive that hook through and stuff like that. But
right.
I fished a ton of these, man. These are probably one of my favorite flipping baits as far as a D-bomb goes. And
the D-bomb's got kind of a unique combination of things of softness, and we put a very, very little bit of salt in there, which makes the bait more pliable and it makes it stretch a little bit more. So it makes it more durable in that sense. And then it's obviously really soft, which gives it that good action with the tails when it's being fished at a slow speed. But then those ribs in the middle of the body, those ribs help dissipate a lot of water. So it gives that bait a bigger profile in the water, if you will, from the way the bait moves through the water from that profile sense. And it also helps hold that bigger 5/0 hook, helps hold that hook in so it doesn't get hung up on everything you try to flip past.
No, that makes perfect sense. I don't know, Zach, if we got the zoom all set up and stuff here, we'll kind of just display the size difference between the two here. Perfect. Good deal. See if I can angle these properly. I know Zach right now is pulling the feet up here, right? Now, if I can hang these, actually, maybe I can just do this.
Yeah.
This might work a little bit better here. There we go.
The big D-bomb, it's 4.5 inches long, and it's it's a full-size, man-sized flipping bait. And then your baby D-bomb is just more for that smaller finesse bite. The baby D-bomb was designed around a 3/0 flipping hook. The D-bomb, you can use either a 4/0 or a 5/0 flipping hook. I use a 5/0 when I'm fishing around wood, and then I use a 4/0 when I'm punching heavier vegetation. So that's the 4/0 helps get in and out of that really, really thick stuff a little bit better. And I have zero hookup issues with a 4/0 with that D-bomb, the big D-bomb.
Perfect. No, that's awesome to know, man. That's the little inside information that I know a lot of people get. They ask me in store and stuff like that because I am on the floor selling everything and whatnot as well. So little tips like that obviously help, the people that are fishing them and help me sell them as well. No, a little inside information there is great. Any other uses for them? Carolina rig, trailers, cut them down, jig trailers, stuff like that?
All of the above. I cut them down a little bit and mess around with a lot of the jigs and put them on mini flips and flip outs and stuff like that. I like the big D-bomb when I want a larger profile, and I'll even put the baby D-bomb on as well. I like to thread them on there. Sometimes I'll cut a little bit off of the top, just kind of depending on how much I want it to stick out the back. But then I've heard of a number of tournaments that have been won on a Carolina rigged full-size D-bomb. I mean, like, remarkable number. And it's one of those things I can't hardly take a baby destroyer off my Carolina rig in order to put something else on it.
Right.
Because I catch so many fish, and I catch big ones on that baby destroyer. That baby destroyer is it is dirty on a Carolina rig. So it's hard for me to take that thing off, but I guess I need to start experimenting a little bit more.
Right. Now, you kind of walked right into the destroyer. Now I do have that baby destroyer ready to go. Just longer appendages, similar body style, a little bit extra legs and stuff like that on the sides.
Yeah,
and,
it's a little different proportions on the ribbed body section, but those small twin tails on the back, man, just with the little bit of slightest movement on a Carolina rig, and those tails just undulate and kick, and then when they stop, those little tails just keep going, and then finally settle back down to the bottom. It's just like I said, it's dirty. When you see it underwater, it's crazy. I know the guys down at the big YouTubers, man, they put out a bunch of videos on the destroyer, baby destroyer. I mean, we do a lot of stuff with missile as well on YouTube, trying to show all the underwater footage. If you go to our website, there should be underwater footage of every single bait on each of the pages.
Sure. No, that's awesome, man. I know specifically John DeMay, I think he's a promotional staff guy from Wisconsin here. He ended up winning one of our head-to-head tournaments. I believe he was skipping a jig with a D-bomb or a baby D-bomb in the back that he had cut down. But on the Mississippi River, he was throwing, I believe it was a baby destroyer and the full-size destroyer, and he ended up catching, I think he set the record as far as most fish caught in an event. But they were all small. Like we have a 2-pound minimum on the head-to-head series. Yeah. So I don't think they counted, but he caught a pile of fish dragging a Carolina rig with these things, and it was awesome to watch. And I'm sure I'll probably link some of that footage and stuff like that, because I think there's a highlight video of every hook set or something like that. It was crazy, but a lot of fish, man. It was awesome to watch. So going from that, a little more finesse. Some of the new baits, they're more recent baits that you guys have introduced. The 48, awesome stick bait. Yep. And
the 48 kind of came about because I wanted. I found myself, I was using a Senko a lot, but I wanted to nail weight the rear of it so that it would fall backwards. I know that Yamamoto actually fishes it a lot like that, and there's some other guys. But you have to be a surgeon to get that nail weight in there without having the thing go crooked on you, because once the Senko gets crooked, dude, it'll just spiral, and it's not the same as that. You want that thing to go straight away from you when it's falling. So I wanted one with a stick bait with 2 blunted ends. Plus, I wanted one with different proportions, so you could flip it around and fish it on either end, kind of get twice as many uses out of it. And it also makes a great wacky worm, being that it's a little bit smaller in the middle and a little thicker on each end. It undulates real nice when it's going down. So the proportions are the big difference for me on the 48, and that's why we designed it.
No, that's awesome, man. And that's, again, great to know. Good inside information there. And yeah, to be able to put a nail weight in both sides is definitely key. I believe when this bait was released, you guys were doing a video series on 48 different ways to fish this.
That's right. Yeah,
you guys make it to 48?
Ended up catching fish on 48 different rigs with that.
That's awesome.
Pretty sweet.
Heck yeah, that is awesome. I probably watched like 30 of them, and then it's like, man, there's a heck of a lot of ways to rig this thing. I couldn't even rig them fast enough in order to try them out myself.
We got into the upper 30s, and then we were thinking, we may have run out, but then we had to get resourceful and just keep digging and keep trying new different ways to get some on camera.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I think we're carrying every single color of all these, by the way. So if anybody's interested as far as colors go, we're carrying the whole line. And we should have plenty of them as far as the spring goes. And we'll probably do a restocking order before open water here, because we're going to have ice for the next 2 months here. So Joe asks, what is your favorite way to rig the 48 around deeper grass lines?
I would say that the 48. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
You still got me there?
Yep.
Sorry about
you should still be live right now.
Yeah,
the audio was good, but I'll be cut out.
Sorry. But yeah, the 48 on that deeper grass, I got kind of one of two ways. I like throwing it on like a EWG style hook that's got a little weight to it. Maybe like a 3/16 or an 1/8 ounce weight, just to get a little faster fall, but stay horizontal. And that is in the clearer water. That can be pretty tough. That's probably, and then the other way is the Tokyo rig.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So you're talking actually a belly weighted swim bait, like a swim bait style EWG,
Right.
just to keep it horizontal. That's awesome. Instead of obviously Texas rigging or whatnot, but no, that's again, like I wouldn't think
it
of
horizontal
that
and the shimmy's real hard going down.
Nice. Well, there you go, Joe. Hopefully that helps you. I'm definitely trying that this year. I've never thrown an EWG or weighted EWG on grass lines, unless I'm bringing up a swim bait. So, again, awesome inside information. Going over again a little bit more finesse yet. I've got the Ned Bomb sitting here, and this one had a ton of publicity around it, a lot of hype, and it's been a killer bait around here. Smallmouth up here, sturgeon bait, stuff like that. Guys are catching them on this.
Yeah, actually, the green pumpkin Ned Bomb is our number 3 selling SKU overall. So there's a lot of dudes fishing that green pumpkin Ned Bomb, and we've got I think 2 other Ned Bomb colors in the top 10 or 12 overall SKUs that we're selling. So there's a lot of people are finding that Ned Bomb and they're fishing it and catching fish on it for sure.
Right. All right. So many different uses for this drop shot, Ned rigs.
Yeah, definitely. I designed it primarily for the Ned rig, but it makes a nice, thicker, fatter presentation on a drop shot if that's what you're looking for. And to me, once I figured out what was going on with the Ned rig, I didn't fully understand the Ned rig when it first came out. I fished it, caught a few fish on it, really didn't understand it, and just by chance I ended up having a conversation in an interview with Ned Cady, Mr. Ned himself.
Sure.
And I started quizzing him. Like he was quizzing me, and then I turned around and started quizzing him on how you fish it and why you fish it the way you do. And then the light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, I get now. I understand. It's all about the drift, and that's really the key to it. It's not about you don't drag it on the bottom like a shaky head. Like that ain't it. You're going to catch more fish not on the bottom than you are going to be on the bottom. And that's why a 1/20th ounce or a 16th ounce or an 1/8 ounce at the heaviest is what a lot of people end up using is the lighter weights, because that bait, drifting coming back to you is really the key to that little subtle finesse presentation that gets the bites. And the people listening that fish a Ned rig, they know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're probably wanting to tell me to shut the heck up. But that's what I do. I try to help people catch more fish and try to design baits that make it easy for them.
Right, there we go, man. Now again, how many colors are in this? A lot, right?
It's a lot. We have a few exclusives, so it's in the upper 20s.
That's awesome. I think we carried last year when we brought them in. I think we added 24, I believe, is what we had. And I think there was a couple colors released after we brought them in. So I think 26 are on order for this year, I believe.
Yeah, we've got some single color Ned Bombs. We've got 2 color laminates. We've got some tail colors. We've got core shots, and we've got some 3 color laminates. So we've got a whole array of different color options with those that other manufacturers just don't have the ability to make because of the way we had our mold made. Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of my favorite colors is watermelon red. So every single bait that I brought up here is watermelon red, just ironically. I happen to have them all in stock. But yeah, this is the watermelon red core, and it is awesome. I mean, you put it up in the light, that green pumpkin is a little bit more see-through, and that red really shows through. It looks awesome. I mean, all of them do, really.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, that was one of those colors I kind of dreamed up, and I was hoping that it would turn out as good as it did, and it really does, man. It pops in the sun when you get it out there, and man, you get that thing around some milfoil in the summertime, you better tie a good knot. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Awesome, man. The bomb shot, one I don't have here, a new one for us, going to be adding for this year. Tell us a little bit about that. I personally don't have any familiarity with that. I don't fish a drop shot a whole lot, so I need to start is what it comes down to. I need to get out and chase some small.
The bomb shot is a 4-inch. It's like a skinny version of a D-bomb, if you will. It's got that same beaver type tail. It's got that same ribbed body. I really primarily designed it for nose hooking and just fishing it mainly for smallmouth and spotted bass, but I've caught some really big largemouth on that thing as well. Especially under the right conditions. So if I'm going down the bank, say in the springtime, and I see a 2 or 3 pound buck bass, it's a little squirrely, try to throw a baby destroyer or something in there, and he's acting squirrely, man, you just pick up a drop shot with a bomb shot on there, and you can catch those squirrely bucks pretty much at will. But other than that, I mean, it's really tough when you go up there to the Great Lakes on those smallmouth, dropping vertical on them, or just pitch casting around clumps of grass and things like that. It's bad at the bone, especially that goby color. That's probably my go-to.
Yeah, I think we needed to order a couple extra of those. That's one of the problems with ordering everything. You can get carried away real quick, and it's like, oh man, black and blue. Let's just add like 150 of them to this order, and But yeah, so goby was one that was on the radar. I know I'm picking up a couple. For sure.
It's goby bite. It's got like a blue glimmer bottom to it, and it's got a green pumpkin with some purple flake in the top of it. And then obviously you gotta have green pumpkin. And then whenever I'm going up north, I love a straight black as well. That's just it's kind of a go-to color for me on smallies.
Oh sure, oh yeah, straight black is always dominant. I don't know why. I mean, same thing with marabou jigs. They eat the all black one all the time. I think it's a shadow thing. I don't think it's I know there's leeches in some areas up north and stuff like that, but I just feel like that that straight black it gives that shadow presence to where they can't truly silhouette what that is, and there's only one way for them to do that, and that's put it in their mouth. Right. No, that makes perfect sense, man. That makes perfect sense. Moving over into the jigs and stuff like that, I know you've got a couple other lines of plastics. I know there's a couple that don't quite fit up here, it seems like. I think the Tomahawk is one, and I believe that was, realistically, we're going to see how all the assortment does that we're bringing in.
Yeah.
And then more than likely, we're going to end up carrying the whole line by fall. That's more than likely what's going to happen. Just based on our growth as far as online sales and stuff like that, I mean, These guys are packing like 300 orders a day. It's been crazy. So stuff's going everywhere. So there's no reason why we won't expand into the whole lineup.
For some of the like dedicated bass waters, like the Mississippi River or the Great Lakes or something like that, the Tomahawk's probably not going to be one of your first options. But there's I've been up to Wisconsin. There's small bodies of water everywhere.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
If you're going to be fishing, especially from the bank or from a kayak or somewhere like that, and there's a lot of grass that you're really trying to fish over top of, it can really limit your choices on what you throw. But from what I've seen in those ponds and smaller bodies of water that have a lot of largemouth, if you just take like an 1/8 ounce weight and put that Tomahawk on, you can throw it and then just slowly reel it and just bring it right over top of whatever grass that you're fishing, and you can catch the fire out of some largemouth in those little smaller bodies.
Well, there we go. Now I got to talk to Justin again, our tackle buyer.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, people just need to pick it up. I mean, a lot of people in general, I don't think fish the ribbon-tailed worms like that up north as much as maybe they do in the south. But man, it's a great way to catch the largemouth.
Yeah, it's definitely considered a southern technique. Not a whole lot of ribbon-tailed worms going on here. However, are you familiar with the Madison chain at all?
I've seen it, but I have not fished it. Like I've been across it, but I've not been on it.
I don't know why they don't have an Elite Series event there. There's plenty of water there.
They've teased us a couple years over the years. They've teased us a couple of times about having having an event there, and so I mean, I've talked to people about it. It seems like a pretty cool place.
Yeah, they just opened up Mendota, which is the trophy one that basically you couldn't keep a fish under, or you could only keep one fish over 18 inches on that body of water, and that was it. So they had a trophy or lock on that for years. They just released that this year, and I think some 24 to 26 pound bags of largemouth are entirely possible out there, and there's big smallmouth out there. So
wow, you better D-bomb and some destroyers in your boat.
Oh, for sure. And I know one of the tournament series that I'm fishing is one of the first ones that's going to be out there launching on that lake system. But the reason I brought that up is last year I was pre-fishing for one of the head-to-head events, and in practice I was throwing a 10-inch ribbon tail worm and catching big largemouth on grass lines with it before it got all super slimy and algae filled.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, not a lot of guys throw it up here, and I thought I had found something special until that algae bloom came, and basically I'd try and drop my worm through the grass, and it would literally hang with a 1 ounce tungsten on there. It would literally hang in the algae. It was terrible. So I couldn't throw it anymore,
that's no good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know. Wisconsin's weird like that. 2 seasons of grass, or two months of grass, and one of it's completely covered in algae, so you can't hardly get through it. It's super weird, but no, and like I said, more than likely we'll end up adding the whole lineup and stuff like that. So you guys will probably see those coming on the website more than likely this midsummer.
Yeah, it's just let your customers tell you what they want.
Yep, exactly, man. Going over to some lead jigs. We're carrying the headbanger, the mini flip, the micro football jig, the micro jig, the flip out jig, and the Warlock head this year. I do have the headbanger and the mini flip. The mini flip's been one of my favorite jigs for years now. Let's touch on that one first. This one's definitely one of my favorite as far as that goes. But I've got the bruiser color here, probably one of the most popular colors, just a black and blue, just an all around jig.
Yeah, it's. We made it for a little smaller, more compact flipping and pitching presentation, but you can absolutely, put it on 14-pound test and cast it, and just use it as a finesse jig as well. That's one of the me and Mike. That's what we use it either on 14, 16, or like 20-pound test, and that's about it. So we use it kind of for the light application for flipping and pitching. I mean, I've caught a ton of 5s and 6s on that thing, and Mike's won 2 different MLF events on that jig. So yeah, he's definitely got a pretty track record with it.
Yeah, it's all around. It's a great little compact, like you said, little compact jig. I flip it around wood a lot here, especially cold fronts. I end up cutting the skirt down just a little bit and throwing half a little baby D-bomb on there, and it's just a deadly combination for largemouth and smallmouth, both. Awesome jig, and again, great colors in that. I think there's 3 sizes in that one, if I'm correct there.
Yeah, quarter, 3/8 and a half ounce. The 3. It was weird because the handful of years that we were selling them, the 3/8 and a half ounce were 3 to 1 over top of the quarter ounce. But now a lot of people are buying the quarter ounce ones. I think people fishing them in real shallow water, and maybe people are swimming them a little bit, but the quarter ounce sizes have picked up as well. So I think for me though, it's hard to beat the 3/8 and a half ounce for most of the like tournament bass situations. Right,
definitely. No, I agree with you there. Just want to give a shout out to Brent Spencer for sharing it to one of his bass pages. Thanks, man. And then going over to the headbanger, which I know is basically just a redesigned football jig. I mean,
it's a structure jig is what it is, and it is pretty wild at the amount of cover and junk that thing will come through. A traditional football head jig, if it even remotely thinks about looking at a brush pile, that sucker is hung. But the way that the weight is distributed on that headbanger, it comes through brush, it comes through just nasty rock. I mean, you can fish it on riprap, and it's pretty amazing how that bad boy comes through cover.
Perfect, man. How many sizes are in this one? 3 again?
3. We have a half ounce, 3/4, and a 1 ounce. And I mean, don't be afraid to throw that 1 ounce thinking that you're going to get hung up every 6 seconds, because it's pretty amazing how well that thing comes through cover.
Nice. I know we carry all the sizes in both of those lines of jigs. The ones that we're adding for this year are the micro football jig and the micro jig, and that's a completely different approach there as far as jig fishing.
Yeah, it's 100% a spinning rod deal. And it's something that Mike came to me a number of years back and said, man, let's get on the forefront of this micro jig phenomenon. It's, he was experimenting with it and catching a bunch of fish on it. And there's just something about a little teeny tiny compact skirted jig that bass have a hard time passing up, especially ones in rivers. I mean, I've caught a ton in the Great Lakes on the micro football. And even the micro jig and like the 1/8 ounce, fishing it shallower. So there's a bunch of different applications for micro jigs that it's kind of like a new frontier on the finesse side of it. A lot of guys up north probably are like, man, dude, we've been doing that for years.
Right.
I'm used to talking to everybody, not dudes that are really slick on the new stuff.
Oh, for sure. All the younger anglers and stuff like that up here, they've come to me even in the store and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not old by any means. I'm only 25. But dang, like I got high school anglers that are like, hey, have you seen this rig yet? And I was like, what is that? Like,
right.
The Tokyo rig came out a few years back, and I saw some early videos of that, didn't think anything of it or whatnot. And then all of a sudden there's a high school angler that beats me in one of the open events in Wisconsin on it. It's like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I need to start looking at some of this a little bit closer.
That Tokyo rig's pretty stout.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think one of the other head-to-head events was one, or another high finisher on that was Mitch Van Aert throwing a Tokyo rig and a Nico rig. Actually, that was I don't know, so many different tournaments, so many different reasons.
Those two rigs you just mentioned, that's exactly why I designed the Quiver 4.5 and the Quiver 6.5 were for the Tokyo rig and for the Neko rig. I mean, those two techniques. I was starting to fish a lot, and I couldn't find the right worm that I wanted. So what did we do? I designed it.
Perfect. Now, those two we didn't add. And just basically, again, looking at the lineup, it's like, the Quiver 4.5 is just a little bit longer, Ned Bomb. So it's like, man, we'll just slim it down a little bit to start with. Now, see, now I'm gonna have to talk to Justin again and go back in here and be like, hey, we need to just add to that order and just carry the whole lineup right now, just because it's
got to do with your customers, what they are looking for. So. Once you get a handful of people coming in looking for them, then it makes a lot of sense.
Right. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on is availability and stuff like that for everything. How are you guys sitting, with everything that happened last year with the pandemic and stuff like that? How are you guys sitting as far as inventory goes and shipping and everything like that?
We shipping, on orders usually within 24 hours, but our plastics are pretty strong as far as inventory. I don't know, we're in the mid to upper 90s% on all of our plastics. Our jigs are a different story. Our jig manufacturer is just swamped. Everything is manufactured in the U.S. and so that's one good thing for us. But at the same time, one of our jig manufacturers, the people who make our mini flip, they do a really good job. They make a really good product for us, but they can't keep up with the number of orders. I mean, we've got 4 POs in front of them, and they haven't touched yet. I mean, they're on the 5th one back as of right now. Where they're slowly catching up. I think within the next couple of months, I think they're going to get close to being caught up. But yeah, we've got so many back orders for some of the jigs. Like micro jigs, we're okay. Some of that kind of stuff we've done a little bit better job of being able to keep some inventory in to be able to ship. But the mini flips, if you look and they're back ordered, that's because we sell a ton of them, and we just can't quite keep up with the demand. I mean, I've tried a bunch of different tricks and not been able to get what we want.
No, man, and that's understandable and stuff, especially right now and whatnot. And that's kind of why we're putting in orders at this time of year. Hopefully, we've got them by May when we really need them and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
sure.
And I know a lot of other manufacturers are doing, or a lot of other dealers and stuff like that are doing the same thing, thinking the same way. We need to get orders in early so we actually get product. But I just wanted to check in on that.
Yeah.
The flip out jig is another one that I know we added, as well as the Warlock head. We actually carried the Warlock head for the last couple of years, I believe, and always sold out immediately. Like,
Right.
and then for some reason, I don't know if we were a direct dealer at the time and couldn't, or and we were getting them through distribution or something like that and couldn't get them because they didn't have them. But now, obviously, direct dealer, and I know we ordered a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I don't know the quantity, but I know 6s were not enough. So I think we did, 36 packs on each size or something like that, just to start with.
Yeah, we sell a remarkable number of those Warlock heads. It's one of those ones we did, almost right in the beginning, and just like you said, we even have a hard time keeping up with demand. Like we'll get in what I think is plenty. We'll get in 1,000 per SKU. And like, okay, and then next thing I know, like 3 weeks later, we're out. And you're like, God dang, how did that? But we, forecasting didn't exactly show that. So, we try to stay ahead of that. But with the Gamakatsu hook in it, and it's that little rascal comes through cover unbelievably well. A lot of people fish it and they like it.
Yeah, definitely. I know it's one of our best-selling kind of small structure heads, and we have it right next to our shaky selection and stuff like that. So that's one of the first ones that is gone. That is for sure. I mean, that pretty much covers the entire line that we're carrying here at TRS. I know we can post links and stuff like that to all the missile baits line after the stream here, if anybody's interested in shopping them or whatnot, and take a look at some of them. We've got them hung up on the shelf. Everything that we've got in stock currently is on the wall and ready to go. And I know, again, like we talked about, we already put in a pretty significant order as far as this spring goes. So a lot of the new stuff and a lot of the other SKUs that we're out of will be back in stock very shortly. Especially if you're saying the ship, within 24 or 48 hours or something like that, then
Usually
it should sell
does,
pretty
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, they're on it.
That'll be great, man. Anybody else have any specific bait questions or anything like that while we're still on that topic? I'll slide into some other stuff here, but feel free to chime in with some questions and stuff, guys. So again, 200th event. We'll get away from the baits just a little bit, and I know I want to talk a little bit about what's upcoming for this Elite Series year. 200th Bassmaster Elite event for you, and in a place that you're familiar with and have done fairly well recently, and I think a 2nd and a 5th in the last 2 times that you guys visited there. So I guess what can we look forward to seeing this time around? And is there anything you expect to be different this time around at all?
Yeah, it's going to be different, just like it always is. 2 years ago when I finished 5th, we showed up and there was no grass, and guys were freaking out. But luckily, we were right on the very beginning of a little warm front that week, and a ton of fish came up and started bedding. And man, we Clun won, and had that monster 36-pound bag the last day. I had 30 pounds the last day. I caught a ton of fish. Ended up catching a bunch of goings. Had an 8-pounder that day, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of those fish were bedding, but I wasn't visually sight fishing for them. I did catch a couple early in that week off bed, but that wasn't the primary deal. But then fast forward to last year. Last year we had crazy low water, never really got warm, so those fish weren't really spawning, and we had just like a weird wind situation. We actually had 2 days canceled because of the wind, and because of all that wind, it sucked all the water out of the St. Johns River Basin. And I'd never seen the water that low for that long. It was very odd. But, I grew up fishing tidal fisheries, the Potomac River and the James River here in Virginia. And, I've seen that kind of, we get nor'easters here that suck the wind out of the Chesapeake Bay. It's kind of a similar deal. So I fished those rivers under those kind of conditions. And that's just kind of how I approached it there. I went found the deeper water and was able just to kind of grind them out there. But so this year I'm expecting something different again. It's not going to be we're not going to get. It doesn't look like we're going to get any big warming trend, but we're not going to get any big massive cold front. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of fish spawning. There could be a few fish on the tail end of spawning. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect as far as water temperatures go, but I expect it to be different again. I heard there's no eelgrass is not back yet, and so that'll make things a little interesting.
Nice, man. Well, like I said, a lot of people wishing you luck up here. I know there's nothing. I mean, as far as bass anglers go in Wisconsin right now, there's not a whole lot to do. I mean, honestly, it's either you go and drill holes through the ice and get cold all the time, and that's not my personal choice. I got some guys chiming in here, but yeah, no, so a lot of guys do the fantasy fishing thing, which is awesome. It allows people to follow along in the sport that they love and compete a little bit without actually being able to get on the water. So it's awesome that this is coming around at this time of the year when everything else is still locked up here. And I know Kyle asked a little bit earlier this morning when I was talking to him a little bit about stuff that we're gonna talk about today, and he had mentioned just support about all sorts of different like autism and stuff like that. And you said you do some work with veterans and whatnot. If you want to touch on that and stuff and point some people in the directions where they can, look for those events and stuff like that.
Yeah, normally in the month of April is Autism Awareness Month, and for 10 plus years, I'd say now, something like that, we've always had some sort of contest or some sort of awareness campaign during the month of April, because normally we're fishing during the month of April and we're able to raise some awareness, whether it's through wearing bracelets or flags on light poles or stickers on boats or whatever we do. And then also I usually end up auctioning off a few different items and then donate that to autism charities. And I encourage people. I mean, Autism Speaks and National Autism Society, and there's all these national ones. But man, I encourage everybody to just look local, because you'll be very surprised at what you'd find in your own backyard as far as autism facilities. And those are the ones that really need the funding and really need the help. I've got one here locally that I usually do my donations to. It's called Blue Ridge Autism and Achievement Center, right here near, it's 10 minutes from where I live right here. And then a couple years ago, we had Stetson Blaylock win something, win our Autism Awareness Angler for April award. And so there was a couple $1,000s that we had raised, and I gave it to his wife, Lindsay. I said, "There, you make the donation." And she said, "Well, where do I make the donation?" I said, "Look locally." And so she called me about. She goes, "John, there's this place that's not even 10 minutes from our house that has a camp that brings in autistic kids every summer. We had no idea it was there. They went and toured the place. They made the donation there." And she said, "We're going to make a donation there every year now that we know it's there."
That's
so
awesome.
That's the stuff that I really I like hearing, and that knows that we're making a difference. That's
awesome, man. No, that's good to hear. Got a couple questions in the comments. So Mitch, one of the guys that was throwing the rig I was talking about earlier, he chimed in. He said he's got you on the fantasy team. Go rip one of those 10.5s this year, and thanks for coming on. So
heck yeah.
Appreciate the comment there, Mitch. And then Casey asked something just a little more technical.
Sure.
When you won the California Delta Elite Series punching, you downsized from braid to fluoro when the bite got tough to get more bites. Do you still do that when the punching bite is tough? And do you see this help in other parts of the country? Also, he said adding scent was a huge factor in that tournament. Do you still use additional scent when punching with DBombs?
Yes, for the most part, yes, all of those. In that event, I was fishing in Italian Slough. If anybody's familiar with the California Delta, it's Italian Slough. It's a deep irrigation canal, and it had hydrilla lining both sides of it for about 5 miles. and there was, as you mentioned, that slime. There was slime on all of the hydrilla. So each time you flipped into the hydrilla after you pulled your bait out, you had to manually pull the slime off and then make another pitch. It's a little tedious, to say the least. That's why a lot of the guys that were in the field would come in there, they'd fish for 10 minutes and go, screw this, I'm out. And after the first day of the tournament, I had 4 fish that weighed 15 pounds, and it was in like 10th place. So the fishing was silly tough. And then the second day I had 21 something and jumped up into like, I don't know, 3rd or 5th or something. And I'd caught I caught a 7 the first day. I caught 2 7s the second day. And I told, I was rooming with Ish and Ike and Ellie, and I told them both. I never said this before in a tournament. After the second day of the tournament, I told Ish, I said, dude, I can win this tournament. Like, the fish are in this area to win the tournament. I've just got to get enough bites. And if I can catch a limit or get really close to it each day, the big ones are there. I got a chance. And so Ike and Ellie had been fishing, and after the first day of the tournament, he switched to fluorocarbon and was getting getting more bites. And he made that suggestion, so I did. And I kind of, after the first day, I had one rod with fluorocarbon and one rod with braid, and I would alternate between the two. And I think I caught all but one of the fish that I weighed the second day on the fluorocarbon. So then the rest of the tournament, that's all I threw. And I downsized from, I was flipping a beaver the first day and a half. And then I put on a little gambler BB cricket. And that's what I kind of rode the rest of the tournament on, was that little BB cricket, just trying to get enough bites, because sure enough, I ended up catching, I don't know, 3 or 4 more fish that were 7 pounds or better, the last 2 days. Ended up winning by 1 ounce. So I mean, I lost a couple fish, which happens, especially when you're battling with those big ones in that heavy hydrilla, and all you've got on is 25-pound fluoro. So yeah, it was. I guess it was just meant to be.
Sure, man. Background on Casey, he's probably one of the most technical guys that I know in the state of Wisconsin. Memory is ridiculous. To be able to pull out specific details and stuff like that is crazy. The second part of that question was, you said adding scent was a huge factor in the tourney, and do you still add additional scent when punching with D-bombs?
Well, when the D-bombs are bagged, they've got crawfish oil added to them. So they're made with anise oil, which does not cook out of them. And the reason that the crawfish oil is added afterwards is because if you put the crawfish oil in there before, that would be cooked off as they were being manufactured. So that's why the crawfish oil, you'll smell it's kind of sweet and fishy when you open the bag of D-bombs. But yeah, I keep some scent handy. And after that smell has kind of worn off as I'm fishing, I'll definitely apply some more scent. I feel like that scent is just one of those factors that I want to have in my favor when money's on the line. I don't want to chance it of having some non-natural human scent on my bait to where maybe the fish doesn't hold on to it for that extra half a second that I needed to set the hook or whatever it might be. I don't want to chance anything.
Perfect, man. Hopefully that answers your question, Casey. Last question, that again, this is from Kyle over in our tournament department there, is why the decision to stay with bass over MLF? And I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but
yeah, it's interesting because we're going into year 3 of this, and so everything that I had said from day one is really, I've not changed and had any reason to change the way that I feel about it. But in the very beginning with the whole split, it was a lot. There was a lot of uncertainty, and the people at MLF, there was a lot. I mean, they can't make any false pretenses about it, because they were telling a lot of people that bass was going to go under and bass was going to go away. And that's a reason that a lot of the guys went over to MLF, is because they were afraid that bass was going to go away. So they weren't going to have an option for having a career. But the way Bass's model is, I knew it wasn't going anywhere. And their model just works differently. It's not 100% revolving around the Elite Series, which a lot of people, especially the Elite Series anglers, didn't understand. So, so I thought that, and I still do, and this is the reason that I stayed, Bassmaster is the best media platform, in order to promote all of my sponsors and to promote missile baits. And that's the primary reason that I stayed, and that I wanted to stay. So that's why I didn't waver with that. They didn't, to me, I didn't think that the media platform supporting MLF was even remotely close to as good as Bassmasters, and they're still evolving. I mean, they had to acquire another tournament trail in order to keep it going. So I hope that the way that they've got it going now, it can evolve into something that can sustain itself. Right. Because I didn't think that the MLF model by itself was going to be sustainable, and it wasn't. And they showed that within the first 2 years. So now with the FLW acquisition, that hopefully can become a sustainable model. I mean, I watch the the Toyota series and in the pro circuit and that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the dudes catching big limits and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. A lot of dudes that I know, and it's cool. But so hopefully it can sustain itself. But nothing has wavered my belief that Bassmaster is still the best media platform in professional bass fishing, and MLF made bass get better too. And so I'm not gonna sit there and say that bass was always going to be the best. Competition makes people find out what they're really made of, and Bassmaster definitely improved with MLF right on their butts, trying to take a piece of their pie. So Bassmaster definitely raised their level of commitment to that media platform, and I think they're doing a really, really good job with it. I mean, you look at Bassmaster.com and all their numbers, all the Bass Live numbers, they're all verified and real, and they're substantial.
Yeah, man. So it came down to almost a business decision as far as the platform behind you then. So with the business and stuff, missile baits and stuff like that, you thought that Bassmaster as a business decision was probably better than going to MLF. And that's something I guess I haven't really heard of, rather than, like you said, the fear, the feelings that if bass was going away, where you're going to go as far as fishing goes. But you stuck with the platform that you had built this company on and stuff like that, which would be Bassmaster, and that was the best decision for you at that time.
Absolutely. In MLF, their whole premise of the way that they're able to survive is really based on one person, in Jim Wilburn. He is an unbelievable. He's like the best salesman that the industry has ever seen. I mean, he's really good, and so he's got that dialed in. I felt like if something happened to Jim Wilburn, so does MLF and all the people that are connected to it.
Sure.
I mean, they have a great network and a lot of people, and Duckett does a good job with his part and all that kind of stuff. But Duckett is not Wilburn. Wilburn does a crazy good job at what he does. But I felt like, okay, so you look at that, and then you look at Bassmaster. There's no one or two people at Bassmaster that are so important that if they left and were replaced, that it would change.
Sure.
Look at Bassmaster over the last 15, 20 years. They've been owned by Helen Sevier. They've been owned by ESPN, and now they're owned by the Anderson family. Bass, the brand, continues because the brand is so strong. It's got over 50 years of tradition and people following it, and just diehards. That's not changing because of one or two people. And I didn't want my, the next 10 plus years or whatever it is of my career to be hinged on one person.
Gotcha.
I'd rather be hinged on a brand that is much more rigid and tried and true.
Perfect, man. No, that's perfect. And again, I don't know how many people look into that and stuff like that of why guys switched and whatnot, but no, it's good to have a good reason behind it, and obviously that company.
I don't blame anybody for going, either way. Everybody had to make their own decision, and I mean, I've got a lot of guys over there on ML, a lot of friends over there on MLF, and I want them to be successful. I want them to do well. Lucas was just torching their ass over there the other year. Texted him, I was like, dude, you just keep taking their money, son, and he was like, yeah, sir. So I follow it and encourage those guys to do well. It wasn't the best option for me. No,
that makes sense, man. That pretty much wraps up everything. I don't have any other questions that came in for you or anything like that. So, hey, I appreciate you coming on. We're approaching on an hour right now. So a little longer than I expected, but again, thanks for jumping on, and I know everybody here appreciate you doing that for us, and I
appreciate you, and look forward to getting up there to the Real Shot next time I'm up that way, and come by there and check it out.
Yeah, swing in, man. Hopefully by that time we carry the full line. We can do some more product videos and stuff like that if you swing in the store.
Absolutely.
All right, man. We'll let you go. I know you got to get ready and stuff like that to head out. So again, thanks and good luck this year, man.
Cool. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be talking to you next time about something to celebrate.
Right. There we go. Hey, have a good one, man.
All right. Thanks.
I didn't close it down, Zach says. Oh, man. What? Oh, man. Okay. Understandable. All right. So, oh, man. Now I got to refocus here. All right. So, again, huge shout out to John for jumping on the stream here. And tomorrow, actually, we're going to be live tomorrow again. We've got Pat from Mag's Custom Rods coming in. Should be another incredible show. And man, I don't know. See, I closed it down early. I don't even know what to say anymore, man. So Pat from Mag's Custom Rods is coming in tomorrow, so it's going to be another awesome show there. We'll get a splash and stuff out there for you guys to remind you and whatnot. Check out all John's stuff on social media as well. So Missile Baits page, if you got any questions for him and stuff like that, shoot him a message on social media. Check out his YouTube channel as well. That's the other thing I didn't really get to call out and stuff as we're approaching our time limit here and whatnot. But check him out. I mean, 7 days away from the Elite Series event on the St. Johns River, so that's going to be an awesome deal. You're going to see some big fish. Like I think when he took that 5th place, I think he caught that 10.5 pounder, 11 pounder, and so it's going to be exciting to watch. And I guess that's pretty much all I got. We'll post some links and stuff like that for all the Missile Baits products. And again, Pat from Mag's Custom Ice Rods is going to be on tomorrow, so completely different show for tomorrow. We're going to be back on the hard water deal, and man, I kind of like talking about open water, man. That's always a good time. All right, without further ado, guys, we're going to close her down officially now. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you tomorrow talking about ice.